And welcome to another edition of the Sartorial Geek Podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance, coming back one more again. And this week, it is all about gaming. We just had the Game Awards last week as of the time of this recording, and I think this is the first Game Awards I literally watched from beginning to end. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, not for the awards because of all the announcements. We'll get to that. Of course, we're talking about games. I would be remiss if we don't start off, of course, the download. Now, this week's download is a game that took me by surprise when Brian and I looked at the trailer for it on the most recent edition of the NRW Checkpoint, and it is a Highland song on the Switch and PC from Inkley Limited. In this game, you play as Moira McKinney, and she is running away. You take place, or I should say, you happen upon or take part in a wild adventure through the Scottish Highlands with open platforming and dynamic storytelling, maps, and music from the creators of Heaven's Vault in 80 Days. Now, I'm not familiar with either one of those games, but looking at the trailer for this game, I love the background. The world isn't quite photorealistic. It's almost, as I say, like a watercolor of a realism. Like, it looks real, but it looks painted. And then the main characters are like drawn. I forget the old Sesame Street skit where the little gentleman was like on the cup, on the glass, and he's dancing around and he's going this all around the kitchen, if I remember correctly. That's what it reminds me of, that hand-drawn 2D sort of figure against a realistic 3D background, and it looks absolutely amazing. I really love the innovation of so many of these indie games. A lot of these AAA games have been such a disappointment in recent memory, with charging prices of $70+ in many respects for them to come not completely done, rushed, buggy, and then having to patch for years until it gets to a state where it is actually playable and enjoyable. But you have small indie games like a Highland Song that come out that are just rare to go, to tell a really good story, to present a unique and immersive art style. So that's why this week my download pick is a Highland Song on the Switch and PC. Now, I've been watching some movies. I've talked about movies and whatnot for a while, just haven't been watching a lot, so I'm catching up. A lot of the DCEU slate has dropped on Netflix, so got the chance to watch Shazam! Fury of the Gods, aka Shazam 2, this past week, and it was okay. I really enjoyed the first Shazam. I have always been a fan of Zachary Levi since his Chuck days, and have enjoyed most of the things I've seen him in. He has such a earnest, quirky quality about him. He is a geek like the rest of us, and that's why I love it. But I think in many respects, not to a debilitating degree as the movie I'm going to mention, but I think this movie suffered a lot in the same way that Thor: Love and Thunder did. They took all of the cool things about the previous movie and they just doubled down on it, and it was very stupid. Like, the characters, the Marvel family, were just unlovable in some respects, especially Shazam himself. It came off really too silly and too silly at times, especially for this to be a character that, even as Billy Batson is about to turn age 18, he's still acting like a 14-year-old. And it was really annoying and obnoxious for most of the movie. This is a movie that has a runtime, I think, of over 2 hours, and they really could have cut out 20 minutes or a half hour of this movie, in my opinion. It was also predictable, especially with the three sisters, and you kind of knew what was going to happen with one of the sisters. Not so much the other sister, but Lucy Liu Helen Mirren, I don't remember the third sister's name. You know, they did a serviceable job. Lucy Liu, she plays bad guy pretty well, but it has some good moments. I just think that its runtime really, because of its runtime, they added too much in there that they really could have cut out with some of the jokes and whatnot and some of the quirkiness. I did like the fact that the original Shazam from the 70s TV series was there for a brief cameo and called him Captain Marvel. I thought that was really, really cool. All in all, like I said, it was okay. It wasn't as good as the first one, and I understand why I didn't do that well in the box office. It was too long, and because of that padding, I think that the movie's quality really suffered. Like I say, it's an okay movie. It's enjoyable. The last act, I would say, was pretty good, in my opinion. Is just like that second act just really could have cut down. And this is one of those movies where, not to give too much away, it's all of Superhero's fault. And that's what really turned me off to this movie. Like, all these things, just stupid decisions were made throughout. And if people had just acted their age and not been so impetuous, this movie didn't need to exist. As far as the story of the movie didn't need to exist. So it was annoying to me in that regards. But that is my take on Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Now, as I said before, we had the Game Awards, and there were so many announcements that were given. Xbox, I think, in many respects, stole the show as far as game announcements and hype, and probably the biggest announcement from Xbox proper, or I should say an Xbox studio, because there's still some doubt as to whether this is an Xbox PC exclusive, but it's Blade from Arcane Leon, and it looks pretty cool. I would love if they got Wesley Snipes to do the voice of this. And it's going to be a third-person cinematic action adventure game. So I'm looking forward to that, but that's some years off. We're talking about maybe 2026, because I believe they said they just started working on it after Deathloop, and Deathloop came out, 2 years ago? So they're probably 2 years into development, if not a year at the least. So a lot of these games have been having 5-year development cycles. So if 2 years ago was 2021, yeah, we're looking at a 2026 2027 release date more than likely. So we're looking at the tail end of this current generation before this game sees light of day, potentially. But I am excited for that. Also, a game that came out that we saw the trailer for was Tales of Kenazera Zau, and I forget the gentleman's name, but it is very much steeped in African culture, and I couldn't tell you which one, honestly, but it looked absolutely awesome. Sort of a 2.5D adventure game, which we have become very familiar with nowadays. I dare not say it's a Metroidvania, but it's in that vein. But it looks absolutely beautiful, and it's coming out for all platforms. And then, while there were many other announcements that got me excited, the only one that got me excited, the only one that got me cursing while I was sitting there eating my dinner while watching the Game Awards, was Sega. Sega had this commercial that just told us, hey, guess what? We're developing not one game, but 5 games and more. They're developing a new Crazy Taxi, a new Streets of Rage, and we're talking about a 3D Streets of Rage game, not the 2D one that we saw from Datamu a year ago. Streets of Rage 4 was just absolutely awesome. Crazy Taxi, Jet Grind Radio. Oh man, I can't wait for that. Golden Axe. And oh man, the other one escapes me, but for me, it was seeing Crazy Taxi. It was seeing Jet Grind, especially Jet Grind. I loved Jet Grind Radio on my Dreamcast, on my original Xbox. I've told you guys many times, I'm still playing bass fishing. I'm still playing a lot of Dreamcast games, including Crazy Taxi on my Xbox. I'm playing Streets of Rage 1, 2, 3, and 4 on my Xbox. That was just awesome. And then the old school Sega, it brought me back to my childhood of my Genesis days, and knowing that they are finally giving the fans a proper reintroduction to those franchises, especially Golden Axe. Golden Axe looked really sweet in that trailer that they had. I'll link that trailer in the show notes because I want you guys to see that if you haven't seen it already. It was just nothing short of amazing and totally unexpected, out of left field. And I think that's really what it was. I'd heard a lot of rumors, particularly it talked about Blade. There was a rumor from Arcane or about Arcane. Some said there was a Blade game. Some said it was maybe Dishonored 3 or Dishonored 3 or Disavow, whatever the name of the franchise is. But that Sega game was just, that announcement was out of left field, and it was just really, really cool. And I'm excited, and I'm hoping these games are out sooner rather than later. All in all, I thought the Game Awards was pretty fun. I enjoyed all the announcements. I enjoyed the even musical. I did the announcement of OD from Hideo Kojima, especially him teaming with Jordan Peele, has me interested. And one of the cool things about that is, since it's so reliant on cloud play, this is definitely a day one Game Pass drop, since this is working with Microsoft, and I think they're really going to use that to leverage it. So I'm really curious to see what this game is all about. And I'm not really big into horror games, but the way this is being described, it is going to be a unique experience. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing that. So that is my take on the Game Awards. If you haven't seen it, check it out, or at least, scour online to see what sort of announcements were made, to see if there's anything that piques your interest as to watching. Oh, of course, we all knew Baldur's Gate 3 was going to win. I mean, there was nothing else. I'm surprised Spider-Man got totally shut out. Actually, not so surprised, honestly. If you watch the latest episode of Checkpoint with Brian and I, or maybe it was 3 episodes ago when we discussed the nominations, I didn't feel it. As far as, it felt like it was a stretch for, say, Spider-Man to be there or Resident Evil 4 to be there. It seems as though they made, and Brian made a very good point when it came to voting. It could be there was one clear winner or one clear nominee everybody had, and then everybody else just got the crumbs. And I think that may be been what it is, because there was no doubt in anybody's mind that Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't going to win. And then the same night they won, they shadow dropped it on Xbox because they'd had that issue with the 4-player co-op or 2-player co-op or whatever it is on the Series X. So they ended up, I don't remember if they just got assistance from Microsoft to implement that, or they dropped that feature altogether for the Series X. But anyway, they got over that hump and dropped it digitally via the Xbox on the same night as the Game Awards. So that was pretty cool as well. So many more people can experience that game. Still not me, because I haven't upgraded yet, but it's all good. So that is my overall take on the Game Awards. Again, if you haven't seen it, you're a gamer, watch it, or at least, again, find out what was announced and watch the trailers for those. There were some really cool things that were announced. A lot of unique and diverse games were announced and shown off at the Game Awards. So I think you should definitely take some time and look up and see and check them out. Also, speaking of gamings, let's go toward the Sartorial slice. Now, a couple weeks ago, so right before Thanksgiving, I saw some news blurbs about a limited edition Xbox Series X themed watch dropping from this company called Meister watches. And I saw it. I'm like, okay, cool. Something to report on real quick on the blog. So I did that. And then come to find out, it was dropping like a day or two after I saw it. I'm like, wow, okay, let's see. And when that day finally came, I clicked on it. I was shocked at the price. It was a very reasonable price, so I ended up pulling the trigger and splurging on myself with this watch. And I bought it, one, because it was limited edition, only 250 were made, and two, it was only $80 at the time. This recording, according to the website, there are 3 left, so they're almost gone. So probably they're going to be gone by the time you hear this. But it is the Xbox Series S Day Trip watch. Day Trip is a line that they have over at Meister watches. It is pretty much all white. The casing, polycarbonate casing. The case size is 40 millimeters by 11 millimeters with a polycarbonate bezel. It is water resistant to 50 meters. The movement, which is always important because you want to make sure your watch keeps accurate time. It's a Japanese day and date 3 hands quartz movement. It is a battery, so you will have to replace the battery eventually. It contains a scratch resistant mineral crystal as the lens. It has a silicone band, which I don't generally like silicone bands, personally speaking, but for this watch is definitely one that I think fits, especially with the design on it. And it's a 20 millimeter band size with 18 millimeter U buckle, and it has a 2-year warranty. And I like just the overall design of it is really cool. For me, it's something totally outside of what I normally wear as far as a watch is concerned. I also love the fact that it was white. At the time of this recording, I believe I saw some kind of teasers for a Series X watch coming out, and that's going to be a bit more high end. So it may be in the $200 range based on some of the watches that they have. But all in all, I've enjoyed it so far the past couple of days. I'm glad that it has the easy remove clasp, or I guess latching system for the strap or the band, because that way I really am looking forward to getting maybe a leather band or something else, a black band. I think the black and white will really be a nice contrast with that one. And also, while it doesn't look overly formal or dressy, for me, I feel as though I could wear it with something a bit more business casual, just not with the silicone band, just me personally. So I want something a bit more elegant as far as the band is concerned. But it's very light, which is what even though it's a polycarbonate, when you see the pictures of it, you would think that the watch is heavier than what it is, but it's a very light watch. I forget that I even have it on. And I really, again, love the face design of it with that big Xbox symbol, like on your controller, in the day and the date. And it's really cool. I have not tested it out to see if there's any sort of illumination of the hands in the dark. So I really want to test it out because I think that would be a cool feature as well, but I don't think so. And I'm also interested to see how long this battery actually lasts. Because, especially when you buy something like this, you know how long the battery's been in the first place. So, it could last a couple years. It could last, a couple months. So that is my take on this beautiful Xbox Series S day trip watch from Meister Watches. You can check them out. It's actually abbreviated to MSTR, so it's mstrwatches.com, or check out webster.com to see my full write-up on the press release that went out, and you'll probably see the write-up on the Series X watch by the time this one comes out. And it looks like, based on this, they are all out of stock. So just like that, they're all gone. Oh, nope, one left. So we will see, what the next version looks like. And also I'm interested looking online to see what sort of other reviews there are about this watch, see what collectors, gamers, Xbox fanatics really thought about this watch. So that's my take on it. Unfortunately, guess what? There's no fragrance this week. Yeah, we're taking a sort of a light week, chill week this week. Christmas is coming up, so we'll probably jump back into that with the beginning of the new year, because there'll definitely be some new fragrances to enjoy and talk about as we go forward. But I am really excited. And frankly, I've been wearing a lot of the same olds. I don't know, I'm getting into a rut when it comes to my fragrances. I'm pulling out Zaharoff Signature a lot. I'm pulling out Good Man from the Fragrance Bar. That's been a really good one as well. Going back to one of the originals that I purchased back on my journey, the original OG quote-unquote panty dropper, Ferragamo F Black, which works really phenomenal in the wintertime, in my opinion. As well as I'm looking at that Oud Intense. I love that fragrance so much. I don't care if I overspray it, and it's so smooth, it's so sexy, and it just works so well in the winter. I love, it's not winter yet, but like those really cold days, like it's just so good in the winter. It just carries along on that cold weather like the Silver Surfer flying through space. It's so smooth, and it just carries, and it gives a nice sillage. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then also I've been diving back into Echelon from Kimberly, New York, and this is a fragrance that I really only want to wear during the colder weathers, colder climate, because oh man, there's nothing like intense oud. It just floats on the cold air, and I really feel like the oil content in it is so potent that it just irradiates from my skin, and with that spicy smokiness of the black pepper, of the mahogany, it is so sensual, it is so sexy, and it is one that I enjoy wearing. But I really need to get a larger bottle because I only have a 30 ml bottle, so I've been holding on that, but a little for that one goes a super duper long way. So those are the fragrances I've been wearing pretty much over and over as I look to my shelf. Also, Mont Blanc Individual is such a good one to wear in the colder weather as well. Fall, winter, that raspberry, fresh, dry sheet scent. It's so good with that little hint of chocolate. I love wearing that one as well. There's so many different fragrances to choose, and I just love seeing how they perform in this climate. So those are my fragrances that I've been running to over and over and over again over the past couple of weeks. And of course, always need your support, your listening ear, your kind words, your show ideas, but also you can support by going to Basil and Sage, checking out the subscription boxes. You get 10% off your first purchase with the code Sartorial Geek 10. We should be getting the December/Christmas box here pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that as we go through the box. You tell what sort of goodies they are or there are, and whether or not they're worth your money. Secondly, you can always become a Patreon over at Patreon or the producer of Patreon at the $1, $3, and $5 tiers over at patreon.com/Webster Style. Pete and Pedro, I've talked about their fragrances time and time again. They have tremendous sales going on right now. You can get an extra 10% off your purchase if you use the link in the show notes. Also, if you're tired of all those sugary, sweet, syrupy energy drinks, try W. Get 10% off your first purchase by using the code Webster Man. And then coffee brand that I love, that's near and dear to my heart, that's very local to me as well, that I love their coffee, and I literally drink it every morning. Go to Starbucks first. When I get back home, I drink LVA Hill Coffee. Use the code Webster Style to get 10% off of a discount on your first purchase at checkout. And of course, I am everywhere, and I swear I feel like if I am not taking care of household duties, I am recording something for somebody. But mostly you can find me twice a week over the NRW with the NRW Checkpoint, talking about the latest and greatest in gaming with my man Brian Saff. Also talking wrestling with the legend Kriya P and the voiceover king Sean Mongold on Kayfabe Baby, the NRW Regionals podcast. Of course, you can check me out on IG at Webster Style Sartorial Geek, on Twitter or X at Webster Style, and of course on TikTok at _Webster Style. Again, anything and everything that is Webster Style can be found at websterstyle.com. Drop me an email anytime, info@websterstylemagazine.com. And again, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your listening here. Remember, stay safe out there and be blessed. Strong, we can lift them to the sky. The party starts at 12. We got a little time to get it on. And on fact, I'm the type of pussy on. And after that, take a picture with your phone of the outfit. I'm choosing what we own. No, it was Tree Green Tuesday. Had to be Bow Tie Thursday. Had to be White Wednesday. I know last time. Well, I wore polka dot. You didn't wear. Miss Million, them heels killing them, but I'm sure it's a Thursday. Bow tie Thursday. Pasta cream in your heels looking sharp, babe. Acting like you don't know the rules up in the workplace. Must I remind you it was till on your birthday? Don't get me wrong, I think we killed in the birthdays. And you picked the hella fit for the church day. Let's say you picked the risk game for it. Now you got the floor filled with bras that you purchase. Pick a color scheme that can match your berry corset. Get the berry cream. Get the berry cream. Get the berry cream.
styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Let's see what it seems. If it is what it seems. Do it again. Chicks be looking thick leggings, you know what I mean? I don't know. Take a hint though, don't try to get me at a moment. Coat though, smoking hot, rocking this pin so thin. Tie hairline, looking like a stent so pimp. No lie, I'm sharper than a utensil. Instrumental, plain dang, homie. I was hoping we could walk out with that bang bang, honey. See them plain James, honey. Them lame frames, funny. We tell it fit it crazy like that thing came on me. Hey, mommy, look a lady, main thing. Want me on the scene, fit popping like a main vein, running blood color lips, smashing with the hand clutch, money holding back. Kinda funny, can you tell me what's the price tag of the Range Rover? Hang on me when we walking, looking Gucci like that thing sprayed on me. Walking with a limp like an ankle sprained on me. Yeah, I rock the cardigan, she don't really want me because one man should have all that styling. Take it out, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it out, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Hey, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Aim off and on the middle of my lawn. Aim off and on the middle of my lawn. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Oh, you wanted to? Oh, I completely read that wrong.